Welcome to the Effective Budgeting webinar. Welcome and thank you for joining us for the International Student Connect Effective Budgeting. Welcome and thank you for joining us for the International Student Connect Effective Budgeting presentation. This is going to be a very brief presentation. We know that you don't have a lot of time, so we're just going to get right into it and allow you to gather some information. Now, on today's agenda, we're going to be looking at the budgets, creating your own budget, and some of the available resources that we do have available for you as an international student. Now, let's take a look at, budgets. Now, many of you already know what a budget is. It's not something that is foreign to most of you. To those of you who are not very aware of what a budget is, it's really just a tool that helps you to track the money that you spend. It gives you pretty much a summary of your income and your expenses, or income and expenditure. And it helps you to literally plan the way that you're going to be spending the money that you have in your hand, and also helps you to not go over what you have in your hand. This way, you will end up with excellent credit score. You will end up not being very stressed. I know you may not be able to purchase some of the things that you want to purchase, but at the same time, if you have a budget, believe me, you'll be way less stressed than if you didn't have one. They are a source of financial control. They help you to pay your bills on time. Again, it reduces stress. I cannot stress that enough, right? And it helps you to save for medium and long-term goals, sometimes for short-term goals as well. There are quite a bit of, sources of income for some of you. Some of you are getting income from your parents, from your family and friends back home. Some of you may have been lucky and smart enough to have applied for a grant or a scholarship and some bursaries that are available. And some of you may also have student loans, or you may have a part-time job. So your sources of income may not necessarily be from one place. And this is a little bit important for you in terms of how you budget the money that you spend, because the fact that you're actually getting money from various different sources may in fact, have you having this false sense of endless money. So you're thinking, okay, well, mom and dad's going to give me $500 next week. I'm going to get $200 from my part-time job. I'm going to get this amount. And so you end up spending more than you actually have. So by the time you get that money from your parents, you borrowed a few dollars from your friends because you thought you were going to have enough, and then the money comes in and you realize, aha, can't make these payments. So this is one of the reasons we are actually highlighting that you should have a budget. And this way, I mean, in addition to the stress of studying, you just don't take on additional stress in terms of, you know, where's my money coming from and what have I done with it and how much of it do I have left? Okay. It's very simple to create a budget. The first thing that you need to do is decide where this money is coming from. So gather all the items that you need. You perhaps need a pen and paper and things like that to start writing down, or if you're going to do it with an app, get your app and start documenting these things. So how much money do I get from my friends and my family? How much financial aid do I get? How much do I want to save out of this? And let me get my receipts and my bills together, and my banking and my credit card statements, put them all together, line them out on the table if you have to, and then strategically work your way through that. List your monthly sources of income. So now that you've gathered everything together, you start writing them down. List your sources of income. Record the amount of money that you receive from, you know, whether it's your mom, dad, brother, sister, your part-time job. Record that, write it down, or put it in your app. Now, the next thing you need to do is start to calculate this. So add it all up. Let's say in total, you end up with $700 per month. Now, that is your income. That's all the money that you have in your hand. What is it that you're going to spend the money on? Now you need to create your expenses. So start writing down your expenses, and I'll tell you something. It seems very, meticulous and like, oh, but no, I can calculate that in my head. Believe me, I'm telling you from my own experience, when I started to write down what I was spending versus what I was earning, I realized, uh-oh, I'm spending more than I actually earn. So what ended up happening was I was starting to use my credit cards to pay for things that I didn't have money to pay for because I didn't earn that money. But in the back of my mind, I knew I had a credit card. So I'm like, okay, I can do that. No, please try not to do that. Make a list of your income sources and then start to document your expenses. Fill in your fixed expenses, estimate your variable expenses, and add some different, seasonal expenses to that. And we'll go into that in a little bit more detail so you have a good understanding of what fixed and variable expenses are. Your fixed expenses are, your tuition fee, rent and board, your meal plan, your car insurance. Those things are your fixed expenses. What are your variable expenses? Well, the variable expenses are the things that are not necessarily fixed. They are things that you can change, perhaps going out to dinner. That is something that is not a fixed expense. Restaurants, your groceries, from one week to another, you may end up spending a little bit more or a little bit less depending on where, how much groceries you're buying. There's Starbucks, there's Tim Hortons, and all the extracurricular activities that you do, and of course, the shopping. Yes, the clothes shopping is actually one of those things that are not necessarily a fixed expense, and it's not a need, it's a want in most cases. So that's what we're talking about. We're talking about your fixed expenses versus your variable expenses. Why are we talking about this? Because here is where in your budget you can make preparation and concessions for what you can or cannot change. Your monthly budget spreadsheet could look like this. You could have a worksheet that is very similar to this if you're one of those people who like to write things down. If in fact you're using an app, you can actually, all of this is already placed in the app for you. But if you like to write things down, absolutely go ahead and This sheet is something that you can just create from a Word document and simply document your stuff and perhaps put it on your wall in your bedroom just so that you have a reminder all the time. There are several ways to maintain your budget. So you can, again, like I said, you could use the manual spreadsheet. You could go back to basics with an envelope, a honey jar, or a calendar, for example. When you think about an envelope, you're thinking, okay, well, why do I need, this is so trivial. No, it's not. Think about it, okay? Let's say that your rent is $300 a month. And every week you're getting from maybe your parents $400 or $300 every week. You have a little envelope that you write rent on that envelope, and every week when you get your money from your parents, you decide how much money you're going to take out of that weekly amount you get from your parents, put it in the envelope, and set it aside. Okay. Now I want to go shopping. How much are you going to allocate for shopping? Well, I see this dress that I really want. So then you take another envelope and you write dress on it. And then you start putting, whether it's $10 or $5 per week or how much you want to put in there. But all the time in your mind, you already, and you're either in your mind or you're looking at your sheet that you have. What are my expenses? These are my fixed expenses. This I cannot, I absolutely have to pay. This is something that is, you know, a want, a variable expense. I don't necessarily have to pay this right now. So all the time in your mind, every time that you put some money in one of your envelopes, you already have a very clear picture of what this is. And the honey jars work the very same way, except that instead of the envelope, you can actually see through the honey jar, and you can label the honey jar. You know, money for gas, money for insurance, money for rent, all these things. So you label it and then you pick up your money jar, you empty it out whenever you're ready. That's the old school way of doing it. Or you can use the online budgeting tools that are available. For example, there are a few apps that we have identified. We've got the Mint budgeting app, the Pocket Guard budget, and the Good budget app. And then last but not least, in fact, this is actually very good. You can go to www.fcac-acfc.gc.ca and you can use the budgeting app that they have there. That is the government website. So definitely take a look at that. Here are a few budgeting tips for you. Record what you spend. So everything that you spend, either you write it down or you add it in your app. You go to your app and you type it in there. Organize your financial records. Don't have things scattered all over the place. Kind of don't be like me, where at the end of the year I have to find everything, please, okay? I'm telling you, this is not a good thing, all right? So one of the things that you want to do is you want to make sure that you've organized your financial records, you know, the bills that you pay every month, you put them together so you can always go back and cross-check, double-check how much money you've spent. Use your bank to help you budget. My bank that I bank with, there's actually a budgeting app on along with my online banking, and I'm actually able to see when I'm overspending, what my normal spending is, and how much I'm saving. Include your debts and savings in your budget. So any debt that you have to pay, don't discount it as, oh, this is not part of my budget. Yes, it is, because you're going to have to make a payment towards it regardless, okay? And then just plan for anything that may pop up. You know, if you've got a car, you could get your car could break. You may need some money to take care of that. So always have a little bit extra. Do your best. I know that, especially as a student, you're actually living on very meager resources. Some of you, not all of you, but some of you are the resources that you have, you're actually trying to decide, do I buy this week or next week? What do I do? For those of you who've got a lot of money, it still doesn't matter. You still want to make sure that you're budgeting and you're looking at, how do I spend my money? Because once you've graduated from school, you're going to need to find a job. So you still need to be budgeting, right? Now, we have a little bit of a goal setting here for you. You can create and use a budget system within the first week of watching this video. calculate your total income and subtract your fixed expenses from that. Do this within the first week of watching this video, and allocate a weekly personal spending allowance, preferably in cash. Now, why are we giving you this goal? Why are we asking you to set some goals around this? Well, you wouldn't be taking the time to watch this video if you didn't feel the need to have a budget in place. So what we're asking you to do is to get on track. Don't put it off, because if you do, you probably won't get around to doing it. So we're saying do this within the first week, okay? All right, and hopefully you'll get on track with creating a very nice budget for yourself, and you can come back and give us some feedback and say, yes, it worked. I saved a little bit of money. We've got some available resources for you. We have the handbook that you can find on. If you go to our website, it's www.internationalstudentconnect.org. We have an international student guide there for Ontario. Very useful tool. We've got some fact sheets, a transition plan. We've got group sessions and one-on-one sessions along with these webinars that you're actually watching right now. You're either watching a webinar that is live from our website, or perhaps you're able to go to maybe YouTube and locate one of our videos. So definitely check out our website. It's again www.internationalstudentconnect.org. A little bit about the International Student Connect project. The Ontario Ministry of Citizenship and Immigration actually funds this program, this project. The International Student Connect project was actually created to provide some support to international students and their families. We know that as a student, and especially an international student, you may not necessarily have information available to you quite readily, and so this project provides that for you. If you are a part of any one of the universities or colleges that is actually a part of this project, you're able to go to live sessions with a settlement worker that can also answer your questions further. If you need further clarification on that, you can visit our website or you can contact us using the information I'll give you at the end. Costi Immigrant Services is a community-based multicultural agency, and they are the coordinating agency for this project. Costi serves about 39,000 clients annually across 17 locations in the Greater Toronto area. And so once again, this organization has been around for many, many years, for over 65 years. So a very reputable organization, providing a resource to international students that is quite something that is effective and efficient for you. So absolutely. Give us a call if you need to, or send us an email. The International Student Connect Transition Plan is a plan that has been created. You can visit our website and you'll be able to access this tool. Now, it helps those students who are thinking of actually remaining in Canada after they have completed their studies. And I mean, if you're not planning on transitioning to Canada, you can also use this tool as well. It's not necessarily just for people who are planning to live in Canada after studying, but it does give you a platform to help you in the planning process. So what I would like for you to do is visit our website once you've viewed this video. Visit the website and take a look at our transition plan. It'll be quite helpful to you. Our telephone number is 1-844-871-4567. Please do feel free to give us a call if you have any questions, and you can email us at isc@costi.org. Once again, I'd like to thank you for viewing our video, and if you do have any questions, you have our contact information. Thanks again.